Welcome. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve by completing the square on this lovely fun problem we have right here. So to make sure we do this, when we're solving by completing the square, we're going to make sure that we're going to set our y value equal to 0 because we're going to we want to find the values of x when our equation equals 0, and that's going to be our x-intercept, solutions, root, zeros, however our question is going to be phrased. So we need to find the values of x, so they're going to make this equation true, and we're going to apply completing the square. Remember, completing the square is taking our equation from our standard form to our vertex form. And the reason being is you can see here we have a x that's a quadratic and a linear x. And here we just have one x variable that we can apply inverse operations to solve for that x, which is very, very nice. And that's hence the reason why we're going to be completing the square. However, completing the square for this problem is going to come up with a little bit of issues that we're going to have to work on. So the first thing is we notice that we have this 3 in front of our x squared, our quadratic term. And to complete the square, we got to make sure that our a is going to be 1. So I'm going to have to factor out a 3. And what makes this problem so fun is that -4 is not divisible by 3. So when I divide out a 3, I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. And I'm only going to factor out the 3 out of my first 2 terms, because remember, that's what I want to create my perfect square trinomial with. So to create that perfect square trinomial, I need to make sure I take my b divided by 2 and square it. So in this case, I have a -4 over 3 divided by 2 squared. And you're like, what the heck? How does this look? So let's go and look at it. -4 divided by 3 divided by 2. Well, to have this kind of double fraction that we have here, I'm just going to multiply by my reciprocal. And really what this is going to equal is a -4 over 6, which equals a -2/3. So when applying this, I'm just going to take, so therefore that equals a -2/3. -2/3 squared, which is going to equal a 4 over 9. So I have 0 equals 3 times x squared minus 4/3 x plus 4 over 9 squared. Not squared. Minus 2. But then I need to make sure, since I added a 4 over 9 to the right side, I need to make sure I add a 4 over 9 to the left side. However, this 4 over 9 is being multiplied by 3, so I need to multiply this one by 3. So when multiplying by 3, that actually reduces down. So I have a 4/3 on the left side equals 3 times. I can now factor this. And remember, my factored form can just be my b divided by 2. So my b divided by 2 is going to be a -2/3. So it's going to be x minus 2/3 squared, and then minus 2. And we can just double check our work to make sure this works. So -2/3 times -2/3 does give me 4/9. And -2/3 times -2/3 is going to give me a -4/3. So it works out. This is my factored form. However, now I just need to apply my inverse operation. So now what I've done is I've taken my quadratic from my standard form into my vertex form. So now what I just need to do is now I can apply my inverse operations. And remember, we always undo addition and subtraction first. So I'll add a 2 to both sides. And then just to go back with some fractions, if you forget how to add a fraction to a whole number, I change my whole number to a fraction. And then I multiply to get common denominators. So I have 4/3 plus 6 over 3 equals 10/3. So now I have 10/3 equals 3 times x minus 2/3 squared. Then I divide by 2. Again, we have to go through the dividing by 2, which is again the same thing, multiplied by my reciprocal, which will be a 10 over 6. Okay? And then the 10 over 6, that can be reduced down to a 5/3. So there I have 5/3 equals x minus 3/2 squared. Well, now I need to take the square root of this on both sides to undo the squaring. And I'm going to continue my work over here. So therefore, I have the square root of 5 over 3, make sure it's plus or minus, is equal to x minus 3/2. Then, to solve for my x, I'll add my 3/2. So therefore, my final answer is x equals 3/2 plus or minus the square root of 5/3. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you solve by completing the square. Thanks.